everybody, so this is going to be pregnancy week 14. I'm 17 weeks today, so it's kind of looking back, I'm trying to catch up. So that week, because my weeks turn over on Monday, so that Wednesday I had an appointment with my OB, and it was the first appointment after my initial appointment, if that makes sense. Because they did the initial appointment where they did the ultrasound, measured the babies, all of that. And so this was the next appointment I had. And so I didn't know whether they would do the Doppler to find the heartbeats, whether they would do an ultrasound. We hadn't really talked about it because at the previous appointment, when I was 10, 11 weeks, I think, the doctor got called away to an emergency about an hour before my appointment. So I ended up seeing a midwife for that appointment, which I know I wouldn't be able to deliver with a midwife because they've told me, being that they're all fraternal, they're all separate sacs and separate placentas, that it was just really dangerous to even attempt a vaginal delivery because of, the cords and all of that, that it'd be so easy to get mixed up and trapped. And so we're going with a C-section. So I knew that the midwife wasn't going to be the one to deliver. And so we were able to see the doctor this time, and she ended up doing an ultrasound, and I was kind of surprised. It's like she did the ultrasound and she just went over each baby to see that they all had heartbeats. She didn't measure the heartbeats, she didn't measure the babies. She said that that's easier to do than the Doppler, which I can totally understand. She said that a lot of times with the Doppler, you can pick up one of the heartbeats that you think, and you're hearing the same heartbeat over and over again at different angles. So I wasn't surprised that she did the ultrasound. I was surprised that she didn't even measure the heart rates, because even when you do the Doppler, it tells you what the heart rate is. But so we had that appointment, so I was okay. I knew we had an appointment the next day at the perinatologist, so I was fine with it, just doing that way. And so that was all that appointment was. And then, and we did talk to her because we live about 30-ish minutes outside of Atlanta, where, the bigger hospitals are going to be. And so we talked to her about what would happen if the babies were to come early, because the hospital she delivers at has a level 3 NICU, but not, can get higher. And so especially being 3 at a time, and if they were to come early, we don't want to put anything to risk. I want them to be at the best hospital they can. So she did say that if, something were to happen, I had to be hospitalized, or the babies were going to come early, that they would just go ahead and put me in another hospital, one of the bigger hospitals in the city that has a more sophisticated NICU. So I was very happy about that. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I love my doctor. I don't want to have to, because she wouldn't deliver. We would have to get a new doctor to deliver me at that hospital, but at least I know that that's a possibility, so that I don't have to go and find a new doctor now. And then that Thursday, I went to the perinatologist, like I said, and that one, they told me was just going to be to measure my cervix. So I was like, okay, I was expecting that they would do that. I knew they were going to do a vaginal ultrasound. And so the ultrasound tech comes in, and she does the vaginal ultrasound, and she was having a hard time getting a good angle. I don't know if my cervix, I don't know what was going on with my cervix. I've never told me anything before about it being an odd place, but she was having a really hard time getting a good measurement, and she had to push down on my stomach and measure it before and after, I guess, to see, make sure it didn't change. Sorry, I've got the burps right now. So she did that, and then she takes it out, and you could see baby A, because baby A is right there on top of my cervix, kind of moving around, but she didn't look at the other babies, nothing. So then she takes it out, and she goes over, and she's takes her gloves off and is cleaning up, and I'm like, is this it? We're not going to even look at the babies? And she's not saying anything. So it's just that awkward, 30 seconds, and I'm looking at my husband what's going on now? So she did finally come back, and she did an abdominal ultrasound. She didn't measure the babies either, but we did look at all of them. They all had good heart rates. She tried to look at the genders. She couldn't really tell. With it being 3 in there, they're so smushed that it's hard. They don't just flip around as easy to get the different angles of them. So she wasn't really able to tell. And Then she said, I'm going to go show the doctor these pictures, the ultrasound pictures from the cervix, and make sure she's happy with these. And then the doctor ended up coming back. She wasn't happy. She wanted a better angle. So the doctor did a vaginal ultrasound. Then the doctor did an abdominal ultrasound. So I was ready to go by the time it was done, that's for sure. But the babies looked good. They still didn't measure them, but she was able to tell baby C's gender. She made her guesses for the other two, but she did confirm baby C. So I'm going to wait. I'm not going to tell you that one just yet. But so everything was good, and that was all that week. Didn't have any new symptoms. Still have occasional morning sickness. Not as bad as it was, because it used to be, every day, and now every other day maybe I would be getting sick like once. So definitely I can see it's easing off, but it's not gone completely. Do feel like I've been growing, but besides that, no new symptoms. So then for week 15, we left that Friday and went on my family's vacation. My family every summer takes a vacation. There's a big group of us. There's like 12 of us right now that go. So next year will be even bigger. But so we left that Friday and we went up to see my cousins were graduating from high school. And so we went to their graduation, and then we went to a beach house for the week. And that week, starting on Wednesday of week 15, I started getting these horrible, and I could tell it was a stretching cramp. I could tell it wasn't like a cramp, but just like stretching. I could feel my inside stretching right over where baby B is. I don't know if baby was in a weird position or what, but it was so uncomfortable. I couldn't sleep. I had to, just try and find certain positions to stay in. I'm walking up, because it was a 3-story house. So walking up and down the stairs was killing me. It just was so uncomfortable. And then finally, the baby would move and I would feel better. And then it would get back like that. And you could kind of feel like a little bulge, but there wasn't like anything you could tell for sure where it was hurting, but just that stretching pain. And that was all. Don't really have any other new symptoms. Everything's pretty much just been the same. And just like when I went to the beach last time, the babies obviously loved the beach because they did not get sick. They didn't get sick. I didn't get sick while we were at the beach. I'm prone to car sickness, so the whole way there I was fine, didn't get car sick. Did sleep most of the way, but everything was good the whole week, besides that one day where I had those, or the day and a half where I had the stretching pains. No discomfort, no sickness. The night before we go to come home, I start getting nauseous. I throw up that night. The morning before we leave, on the way home, once we got home. So the same thing happened last time we were at the beach. So obviously these babies like the beach, which I'm okay with. We'll spend all our time at the beach. But yeah, so that's all. There's nothing really too exciting to update for week 14 and 15. And I don't have a live belly shot for